The British Public Relations and Communications Authority, that's the PRCA, says it has terminated the membership of public relations firm Bell Pottinger with no option to reapply for another 5 years. The PRCA says Bell Pottinger has brought the industry into disrepute following reports that it worked with the Gupta family to sow racial tensions in South Africa. We're joined in studio now by the past president of the Southern African Public Relations Authority, that's PRCA, Thabisile Phumo, to help trace how the PRCA came to this decision. It's good to have you in studio. Thanks for being our guest.
Thank you so much, and good morning to your viewers.
What is the work of these body agencies, like the one you were the president of, and of course the PRCA?
We are membership organizations that are set up to create standards for the industry, but to also ensure that the practitioners and the agencies that are members work within a framework and a code of ethics to ensure that whatever service they provide to the organizations and the clients is done in an ethical manner.
Yeah. If you are not a member of this of the PRCA, as in the case with Bell Pottinger, can you still practice and do PR work?
Unfortunately, you can still practice, and that is what we are trying to do as the Public Relations Institute of Southern Africa. We are trying to put in regulation in place together with other industry players to ensure that we can regulate entry and make sure that only credible practitioners are allowed to practice in the industry.
Yeah, that's the whole worry here, is that yes, okay, they've been kicked out of a body that represents different PR agencies, but their work can still continue. But the reality is, does a client want to be associated with a company that has a reputation such as Bell Pottinger now?
I think, unfortunately, Bell Pottinger has put itself in a fix, in that it's what I would term loosely the Enron of the public relations industry, in that it would be impossible for any agency or any client, for that matter, to want to be associated with them, because not only have they damaged their own reputation, they've also invariably, by not practicing ethically, damaged the reputation of their client, because it is their job to make sure that they guide and advise their client to work within a moral code that is accepted by our industry.
That's quite an interesting topic to have, actually, a moral code. You know, when you're making money, and what we understand is that the Gupta family have been paying Bell Pottinger £100,000 a month. They've paid them in excess of £1 million. And if you look at the exchange rate now today, it's around that's over 17 million rand they've paid them. Now, when you're seeing this much money being thrown at you, do your morals go down the drain, and do you say, listen, let's just take the money and do what they want?
Well, in reality, if you're unethical, that's what would happen. But we are the profession that I loosely term the conscience of an organization, the conscience of your client. So on the back of the code that you are a member of, but also on just basic professional standards, you are supposed to do the right thing on behalf of your client.
Yeah, you're supposed to, but in this case, it didn't happen. What do you think this has done to the PR industry in general?
I think that the two things. The first is it has damaged the reputation of the PR industry for sure, in a sense that it begins to call to question the level of ethics and credibility of some of the agencies and practitioners that are practicing. But also, on the flip side, it actually highlights the power of PR, which is why as PRCA we advocate for people to be responsible, given the fact that they can change the world, they can create the harm that Bell Pottinger has caused in a country such as ours. You will remember in the 1970s, similar tactics were used in South Africa, where information was used and abused to actually maintain the status quo but create damage to a country. Yeah. So we're quite disappointed with their conduct.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever, you mentioned something like that in the 70s, but have you ever seen anything like this coming from a PR firm with an individual company behind it?
Well, this is unprecedented, which is why we are quite shocked, given that this is not a small agency that we are talking about. This is also not a group of people who were unexperienced. So while we appreciate the fact that they did apologize, it calls to question the fact that how did the strategy of this campaign go unnoticed in Bell Pottinger? How did the media plan, or rather the implementation plan, go unnoticed in this kind of scale? I mean, if you talk about the monies that you are quoting right now, it's inconceivable that the higher echelons of Bell Pottinger would have not been aware of the extent and the scale. One thing I want to highlight, though, is the issue of context. That sometimes, and I'm not casting aspersion on all international agencies, but in reality, lack of context and understanding of the extent of the implications of your work in a specific country could result in people underestimating the impact of their campaigns, such as I think has happened here with Bell Pottinger.
I mean, you've got a company that has enhanced racial tensions in a country, and in a very volatile country such as South Africa, where we've worked very hard over the 20-odd years to try and reconcile, to try and build the so-called Rainbow Nation, to try and better ourselves as a country. And a PR campaign comes in and it undoes so much of the work. Now, you've got a political party like the DA that are asking for a lot harsher sentences to be put on a company like Bell Pottinger, that they must be punished with monetary terms. I mean, the monies that we were talking about, this is massive money. Now, what do you make of something like that? I mean, do you think that they should have a harsher sentence put on them as opposed to just being banned for 5 years from a PR body?
Look, I think, as the DA indicates, the issue of reparation is important. I mean, they did issue out an apology, but I think they should go a step further and invest in programs in this country to make sure that they at least minimize the damage they caused. Because, Leanne, if you look at the extent of how their messaging reverberated across the whole of South Africa, the conversations that happened on the back of the fake news that they propagated, the damage is immeasurable. And I don't believe we will be able to have an understanding of just how deep or how much the damage is caused. So for me, I would appeal to them to do the right thing and get involved in social redress, but also use that opportunity to understand the cost of the damage that they caused for this country.
Yeah. Just finally, as we close this, I mean, obviously Bell Pottinger is a company who were hired by a family, and that family is the Gupta family. If they have been found guilty, and we're talking Bell Pottinger, where does this leave the Gupta family, the people that have obviously sat with them and perhaps worked together with these ideas? I mean, where does that leave them, and how should they be held accountable for this?
Unfortunately, as industry bodies, we obviously cannot hold individuals who brief our agency members accountable. But obviously, in this case, again, we appeal on moral high ground to get the Guptas to do the right thing for the country. And together with Bell Pottinger, try to ensure that there is some redress. Because, again, I don't think they understand the extent to which they've divided the country, the extent to which they've damaged the PR industry, and they've used a noble profession that I represent to create damage.
All right, we leave it there for this morning. Thank you for your opinions, and thank you for being with us here on the program. Thabisile Phumo is a respected communication specialist and the past president of the Public Relations Institute of Southern Africa, giving us the PR and legislative perspective on the decision by the British Public Relations and Communications Authority to terminate the membership of Bell Pottinger. Let's take a break. We'll see you after this.